So Joseph alluded to it, but neither of these teams' fan bases are probably ready to build a statue for their head coach right now.
Tom Herman could have got one.
Yeah. Well played. So Dana Holgorsen took over Houston in 2019. And after a couple losing seasons, the Cougars then went 12-2 in that 2021 season, won the American. Last year, they're 8-5, still pretty solid. And then we have the backpedaling of this season. As Joseph said, it is a new conference. Meanwhile, then you got Dave Aranda. He took over Baylor a year later than Holgorsen, 2020. And of course, we all know that 2020, you just have to sort of, that was a wash for everybody. So that first season was a mess for Aranda, but then kind of like Houston, they took off in 2021. Bears go 12-2, win the Big 12, win the Sugar Bowl. Everything is, as Zach would say, sunshine and rainbows. Last year, they fall back. They're 6-7. They were the preseason Big 12 favorite. They did not live up to that. So it may not be completely fair for me to ask which of y'all think whose seat is hotter, because Joseph's plugged into Houston, Zach's plugged into Baylor. But how about this? On a scale of 1 to 10, how hot is the seat for each of these guys? Joseph, how hot is Dana's seat?
I think he's about an 8. And and before Zach weighs in on Aranda, I think Aranda that one season gets you some cred. He came in, New Year's Six Bowl championship. Dana hasn't won any of that.
Right.
They won the Birmingham Bowl, they won the Independence Bowl, and 20 wins in 2 seasons, but it was the American, and they wanted to have him go into this year. He's done this before at West Virginia. Heck, he even got a contract extension because Houston got into the Big 12. So from a financial standpoint, you could probably maybe drop the degree down one, because $15 million for Houston is a lot of money. Mm-hmm. But I think if you take that away and somebody grabs Tillman Fertitta's checkbook and can write it out for him, I think that's when you say that it's a little bit warmer, because to quote a wise president at the University of Houston, they fire coaches that go 8-4. And that was the famous quote from a few years ago when Major Applewhite was the coach. And I think at some point they're going to get called on it, whether or not they actually do fire coaches that go 8-4 or worse.
Wow. Yeah. Zach, how hot is Dave's seat?
Yeah, I this might surprise. I think it's about a 5. Right in the middle, right? Because I personally, I think he's pretty safe this year. I think it's definitely warming, but I don't think that there's much, momentum from, the higher ups about firing Dave. I think his assistants are definitely, 8 or 9, but Dave, I think is pretty safe. Like Joseph said, winning a Big 12 title, championship game buys you some cred. And I think that there is momentum. You can make the excuses. It's a young team. They had injuries. That there's going to be Texas and Oklahoma are leaving, so there's some room to grow there. So maybe now is not the time to shake things up. But I get a bunch of PR emails about like the Vegas odds for different bowl games, and one of them is first coach fired or next coach fired. Jimbo Fisher tops the list. Tied for second are Aranda and Holgorsen. Wow. So, I don't know what that says. I don't think he's going to get fired this year, but you never know. And especially,
you never know. I do think they're, if you're judging by like disgruntled fans, it's way more than a 5. I've seen, and again, fans are fans, and social media is what I call anti-social media. And I saw one tweet the other day from some Baylor fan who said, if they run this back, they'll lose me forever. That's fan speak. That's like me pissing and moaning about the Rangers being in the World Series.
That same fan is in seat section 125, row 12, seat B the next week. So it's an emotional tie and roller coaster. But Zach brings up a great point that we don't know what's going to happen after this year in terms of who's going to be the big dog in the conference. It's up for the taking. I mean, is it Oklahoma State? Is it Baylor? Is it TCU again? And I think that says something for Aranda that he has the ability to maybe turn this thing around a lot quicker, because at Houston, not many people thought that they were even going to be the top newcomer coming in and having a good. Everybody thought it was going to be UCF, maybe Cincinnati, and I don't see Houston being any closer right now, because if you look at recruiting, they haven't really done anything this year, and I think that has to do with maybe some uncertainty in the program and the lack of on-field success.
Sure.
And I know I say 5, and I only say that just based on, I know I'm new here, but based on what I know of Mack Rhoades, the AD, and the Baylor finances and all that stuff. So just based on what I know, that's the only reason.
No,
I agree that it could be higher. But,
that's completely fair and right. I mean, and I acknowledged as much in a column. So a few weeks ago, I wrote a column giving Dave a very shaky vote of confidence. Not that my vote matters, but basically on what Joseph said, I feel like that 2021 season still has like a little bit of cachet. He did it once, and you hear a lot of, well, he did it with Matt Rule's guys. Well, okay, but you still have to coach those guys. Matt Rule wasn't out there stopping Oklahoma State on the 1-inch line. I mean, it was Dave and his guys. So yeah,
I was around Mack Rhoades for about 4 years, and Mack is not wear his emotions on his sleeve. I mean, he's a fiery guy, but he doesn't just make knee-jerk reaction type deal. And it would have to be something that's certainly been building, and he just doesn't see the direction of the program. And everything that I've heard from him on your podcast or just elsewhere, he doesn't seem like it's everybody jumping off the ship type of moment for the program. Not happy, yeah. Should they do better? Yes. But I think that's something to also consider, because Mack is not going to just make a quick reaction for the sake of doing it, because he's been other places that have done that and he's seen the results.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with all of that. I will say, and Zach kind of hit on it, if we were judging coordinators, I'm saying Jeff Grimes' seat is about a 15. So
that's fair.
I'm just putting that out there. Let's move on.